So I wanted to talk about the idea of forcing trades. What am I talking about when I'm talking about forcing trades? I'm going to go over it in this video, talking about how I forced some trades today and it didn't really work out for me. I'm talking about why forcing trades is a bad thing to do when you're trying to be a consistently profitable day trader. If you want to learn more about day trading and you want to get notifications every time I post a video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll answer those questions. So I talk about this in a couple of videos, how I force trades sometimes, why forcing trades is a bad thing, and why you should never force trades. So it's kind of like common sense, like why don't force trades, kind of over trading. But let's talk a little bit more about what it means to force a trade and why, what's the deal with forcing trades. So FRTA, perfect example. It bounced off this 526 area, ran up here to 550, had a pretty nice little trend going, making higher lows, and moving higher here. Got up here to 554. It broke the trend here at 550. There was a trend line, that right there broke through, pulled down here to the 33. So I shorted there at 550. That was a perfect setup really for this opportunity. It was looking weak. It was getting overextended. The volume was slowing down. Had that double top, a lot of resistance there. So I shorted there at 550. Perfect. That's a good trade. I did a good trade there. It dropped down. I didn't get the full move here, but ended up covering there at 544 from that 550 entry. So I got like 6 cents on 3,000 shares. So it wasn't that bad. But if you look here, I went short once again here, kind of over trading this and forcing this trade here really, and give you an idea of what happened here. Ended up going short here at 537, kind of on this breakdown when it started to crash. And you can see it came down pretty nice. Came down here to 525 there, and I covered there at 533. So I got only about 4 cents. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but I got a little bit of a move here. And you can see after that, it squeezed up here to 538. So really, this would have been the better opportunity. I should have waited. I should have been patient. I should have waited for the right setup. This pulled down here to that 525 area, 526, had some support there, and then bounced up here. You can see earlier had that support there. 525 was support. So really, this was like kind of no man's land. Like if this crashes, it'll probably bounce 525. That would have been a lot better covering down here at that support area. Really the best setup here would have been to wait for this bounce off the 525 area. Wait to see some resistance. Wait to see some selling. We get this kind of bounce here. It bounces up here to 538, kind of following this moving average, and then boom, double top at the 538, 537 area. That would have been the spot to shorted it. I could have shorted there at the 536 and then got this full move down lower here, all the way down here to 507. So that would have been a beautiful trade there. And one of the reasons, like I said, I kind of forced in this trade here. I shorted that breakdown of that trend there, so that was a good entry. I didn't capture the whole move, but still, it worked out. It wasn't bad. But this trade really could have been a lot better here if I would have waited for the right opportunity, for the right setup here, if I would have gave it some time, knowing that that support was there. But instead, I was kind of rushing it, kind of forcing it, and I forced this trade here on FRTA. And if I would have waited, if I would have gotten here at the double top, this would have really pulled down here. It came to this 525 again. After it hit there before, it ended up breaking through there. But it's really about entry. A lot of times what happens is when people don't wait, when people force trades, when they enter at a bad time, when they just enter because they want to get into a trade, or the stock kind of squeezes up a little bit and then it comes down, or you don't get the full move there, what happens is mentally you're just like quick to take profit, or you're just kind of scared, or you cut your loss faster because you didn't get a good entry. But if you wait and you use sniper precision to get the best entries, that's normally when you get the best move, when you get the best opportunity, because you really have a good entry, you feel good about it. A lot of times when I force a trade, I feel like I don't get the full move because I'm like, oh, I know mentally that I got a bad entry, that I need to take profit fast because it's not really a good entry. I might get squeezed here. So that's one of the things right off the bat. It's kind of a red flag for me. If I'm forcing a trade, if I get into it and then right off the bat, I'm like, oh man, this is a bad entry. I'm going to get squeezed here. I'm going to just cover. It's a loss. And already from the start of the trade, I'm already in a bad place. I'm mentally kind of screwing with myself. So when I get that bad entry, when I force a trade, it's like right from the start. It's just a bad setup. So even if the stock does go lower, a lot of times I'll end up covering too soon because I'm like, hey, I need to get out of this trade because I got a bad entry. So right there, I'm basically cutting my profits shorter just by forcing this trade. Instead, I should have just waited. I should have waited for the best entry. Should have waited and been like, okay, it's easy to look at the chart now and, hindsight's 2020, but really I should have noticed. I should have seen the support there. I should have waited for that bounce off the support, waited for the resistance to show up again, and really got in there. Shorting into the strength instead of shorting into weakness. A lot of times I find that if you wait for those best opportunities, if you wait to buy at a perfect time, if you wait to short at the best time, that's when you're going to get the best move. That's where you're going to get the most profit. Letting that trade set up and you're going into the trade right off the bat, you're like, hey, I got a great entry here. This is looking good. You feel confident about it, and that's normally when the best trades happen. That's normally when the best results come, the best profits, when you get into that trade with the best entry. So there's going to be times where you're kind of chasing, or you just have to get into a trade because it's crashing or it's going up really fast, so you don't get the best entry. But even on those kind of setups, you see it's going good. But a lot of times when you're forcing a trade, when you're over trading, those are the kind of setups like this setup. There wasn't a lot of volume. I was kind of looking at it. I'm like, this is going to crash. I need to get in on this. And, it kind of worked out a little bit, but I would have got a lot better of a move. I would have just waited for the perfect setup. Like I said, you don't always get the best setups, but really kind of going into the trade with the thesis, seeing like, okay, 538, this 540 area is resistance. I want to see this get smacked down from there again. I want to see this crash down. I want to get through this 525 area, get a pullback to the 508 area. You kind of go into it with that plan, and you're going to be able to execute a lot better. So that's one of the things I have problems with sometimes, over trading, forcing trades, but really today, kind of forcing trades here on FRTA. I got a bunch of trades. I don't even want to go through them all because it's kind of embarrassing how many trades I got today on FRTA. But you can see that first short there at 555, and then down here at 440, kind of shorting it on the way down, hitting it a couple times. I mean, more than a couple times, but 3,000 or 4,000 shares at a time, then covering 1,000, and kind of letting it move on down lower. But kind of missing out on this huge move here from 550 down to the 440 here. That would have been a beautiful short, but I was too focused on the fast, in the moment. I wasn't really focused on the overall plan here, the actual game plan. You can see, looking at the 5-minute chart, it's pretty clear that that 550 entry was pretty good. So could have just let that one run a little bit longer. 3,000 or 4,000 shares here. I think I had 3,000 shares on that first 550 trade. When I mean, an actual plan, like, and I see this trend, I'm like, okay, this trend looks good here, but if this trend breaks down, I'm looking to go short. I'm looking for this trend to reverse. I'm looking to go back down to this support area. So that's my thesis. That's what my game plan is. If I go into this, I'm like, it's going up. Oh, it's going to crash. I'm just going to get into it. I don't really know what the plan is. And you don't go into the trade with the right mindset. There's the emotion of it and the mental aspect of day trading. That's so hard to master, and I'm having trouble with it every single day. I always try to work on it, try to become a better day trader. And I can learn about charts, and I can learn about all these indicators and everything and all day long. But when it really comes down to it, it's the mental ability to be able to identify, know when I'm over trading, to know when I'm forcing trades, and to be able to step back and just put the brakes on and say, Patrick, don't over trade this, don't force this trade, give it time, let it set up, wait for the right setup, and then execute the plan.